Hello everyone. Friends, from last few lectures we have discussed about cascading style sheet. In the first lecture we have discussed some introductory parts, syntax and one simple example. Then next lecture we have discussed about the types of CSS. Third lecture we have discussed about three main properties: class, ID and class, unit and ID. Now in this third lecture, in the this session we are come at this level that we are conclude this particular unit's cascading style sheet. So in this unit we will be discuss about few important properties which are very useful for formatting XML or HTML document. So just start our today's session. So in this session we will be first discuss text, font, color, background, border, display, height, weight, line height, margin properties. So CSS is what? CSS style properties are used to format characteristics of XML content. Here I mention the XML because suppose you want to display any XML document, it is very required or essential part is CSS. But in a HTML document you can also use some CSS attachment. CSS define multiple style properties that are used to control font, color, alignment, margin, etc. So these will be seen some frequent next upcoming slides. So in this slide, font CSS properties. As far as concerned into the fonts, we know about the font size, etc. So this particular font CSS properties are provided. There are 4 different types of font options which are used to formatting the fonts, just like font family. This property is used to change the font page, just like we are changing the font name means Arial, then Times New Roman, etc. Font style, it is provided to use set style of the font, just like a normal, underline, then italic, bold, etc. Font size, here we can mention the size of that particular font. Font weight, it set the weight of the font, bold, bolder and lighter, etc. So this is one small example. Here I mention one CSS file that is separate for apply for the paragraph, and it is linked by using this particular link tag. So it will be ultimately effect on the whatever the things that I mentioned in paragraph. Here I also use the CSS property. Then we'll be shifting to the next property, that is the text. So here a lot of properties which are provided by CSS to formatting your text. The first one is the color property, which is used to set the color for the text. Then direction property used to set the text direction, possibly from left to right or right to left. Then letter spacing property is used to add, subtract space between the letter that make a वर्ड के बीच में लेटर की स्पेसिंग डिसाइड करेगा. लेटर स्पेसिंग, वर्ड स्पेसिंग प्रॉपर्टी यूज टू ऐड और सब्सट्रैक्ट स्पेस बिटवीन द वर्ड ऑफ अ सेंटेंस. सेंटेंस के अंदर जो भी वर्ड है उसकी स्पेसिंग डिसाइड करेगा वर्ड स्पेसिंग. टेक्स्ट इंडेंट प्रॉपर्टी इज यूज टू इंडेंट ऑफ द टेक्स्ट ऑफ अ पैराग्राफ. पैराग्राफ में जो इंडेंट मेंशन करते हैं दैट विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय टेक्स्ट इंडेंट. टेक्स्ट अलाइन प्रॉपर्टी इज यूज टू अलाइन or text of a document. Alignment that will be used by text align. Text decoration property is used to underline, overwrite, overline, then strike through, etc. Text transform property is used to capitalize text or convert text to upper or lower case. Lower to upper or upper to lower हमें change करना है, so we can use the text transform. White space property is used to control the flow and format of text. Possible values are normal, free, no wrap. So these are the few possible values for white space. Text shadow property is used to set the text shadow around the text. इसकी जैसे हमने क्या था, there are very limited properties available in HTML. So text shadow, white space, transformation, these are properties are used. By using this we can also format our text. So here I apply this particular all properties for paragraph. So simple I mention here. So all the possible values, spacing कितना होना चाहिए, indent, what is the size of the absolute length of for that particular text indent, spacing, text decoration. So here mention so many different type of the values and use the text properties. So these are few text related formatting properties. So these are the text and font properties are useful for formatting your textual data or textual elements. Okay, then color property. The color property is used to change the color of the text that we have already discussed, but in our syllabus they mention separately this color. So that's why we are define or write something about color. So we can, whenever we use the color property, we can also use the direct color, the standard color. We can also mention in front of colon, or we can mention the RGB value of that particular color, or we can also use the hexadecimal values. So in any way you can be used the color property for formatting text. Then few properties are related to the background. So obviously background property is used to set the background of text, just like a background of your whole page or background of paragraph or any particular section that you want to set any particular background. So these are the possible different properties are here. Background color, the background image. Suppose you want to set any particular image as background, background repeat, background position, background attachment, background property. This is background property is also one property. So let's see how can we use this particular property for setting a background of body tag. Just like हमने लास्ट टाइम भी डिस्कस किया था HTML के अंदर. सपोज हमें पूरे वेब पेज के बैकग्राउंड सेट करना है, सो दैट वी हैव टू सेट द बॉडी टैग. सो सपोज यू वांट टू चेंज द इमेज, यू कैन यूज द फुल्ली लेंथ path, or you can use the any particular image that you have to assign here with double quote with the extension of that particular image. Here we can use the repeat, position, then attached, all these property that we can set as a background. Then border. So just like applying any particular border for a text box or any particular table, like the same way this particular property, border property will be used. Border property allows you to specify the border of the box representing an element should look. There are three main properties which are deciding the border. Number one is border color, which color that you want to specify for the border style, and border width. This is one small example. Then another property is display. Display property specifies the display behavior of an element. Common value for display is inline, block, flex, grid, etc. Suppose you want to display anything in a what manner, just like it will be displayed in a flex manner or grid manner or inline manner, so that we can display by using a display, and if there any of the value out of this 4 or 5 different as a possible values for display properties. Then height and width. Okay, this is very simple. Suppose you want to assign the height and width of text, paragraph, anything, that we can mention the height colon and whatever the unit that you want to assign. Pixel में assign करना है, point में assign करना है, millimeter, centimeter, whatever things that we can simply assign here by using a width and height property. Then line height. This property essentially defines the line spacing of multiple lines of a text. The value of this particular property can standard length of percentage, means the what we can say the value for this, but just like a line height is the name of property, and we are assigning the value for this particular property. So that may be absolute value or relative value. You can also mention in a percentage, or you can also mention 1.5 point or em or pixels or anything that we can assign here, or line height property. Then margin property, just we know that there are 4 margins: margin bottom, margin top, margin left, margin right. So it will be decided for what element that you have to use this particular margin property. According to that, it will be giving the margin for that particular element. Just suppose आपने पैराग्राफ के लिए यूज़ किया है, so it will be decide तो टॉप मार्जिन उसका 1 इंच होना चाहिए, लेफ्ट 1.5, then right is 0.5, bottom is 1. So likewise we can decide the margin for any particular element. So this is a small example that we have used a margin. Here we can use this sequence, or we can directly use margin colon, the first indicate top, then right, bottom and left. So these properties are useful, very useful for at an appearance point of view. Whatever the element that you have used in your program, or maybe the body sections there were, so how to appear your whole document, that will be decided by this few remaining properties: the background, the color, display, the margin, border, all these particular properties. So here friends, we come at the end of this particular sessions. So what we have learned in this session, so in this lecture or in this session, we have learned about a few important attributes or properties which are very useful for formatting your XML document or HTML document. Okay, so that all this thing sufficient for today. So with this we have covered this particular CSS unit friends, but still we are not stopped here. The next session will be see one more example, that is a practical oriented example. Means one CSS file that we first connect to the HTML file and then connect to the HTML file. So that will be seen next lecture. And one more revision session we will also try to display on this video series. So there where I'll be explain whole this particular unit, means right from CSS 1 to CSS 4, completely revise it in a Hindi or English version. Keep watching, keep learning, and take care.